Yes.
The deer one was a drawing that you did?
So so that's a design that I did for the tattoo prior. It's going to be a whole half sleeve. There's a few things I need to tweak with the design. I'm also working around a tattoo. So if you go back, there's a cross. I didn't do that tattoo. I'm just working around it.
Okay.
Um, so
Did you draw this?
I drew parts of it. Other parts I like Photoshop together. It's a little bit of everything.
Nah, it's cool. I was just wondering, like, I give props to anyone who like draws on shit or like does that. I'll be the first to tell people I don't draw. I'm good at drawing, but I haven't done it in years because I don't draw for a living. You know, like I tattoo for a living. So um I've always stuck with just tattooing. People are like, "Oh, do you draw? Can you do? Oh, I like this deer, but I kind of want him on 2 feet, like kind of like jumping up in the air." I'm like, "Okay, listen, I'm gonna have to find a whole nother deer reference. Whether I have to use AI, whether I have to find it online, all of my stuff comes from AI or online." And I'll find some pretty dope shit and I'll put it together in different ways that people really never seen it online sometimes. But I definitely lean towards like using a bunch of online reference. So props to you for drawing some of this because I don't even know, to be honest, I don't even know where my drawing skills lie at this point in my career. Probably not. Or maybe I'm better than I think because I haven't done it in years. But I would have to say drawing with a pencil and shit's probably tougher at this point than drawing with a tattoo machine for me.
For
So
sure, bro. I try
here,
to go ahead.
here we go. Blacks, blacks, blacks. All right, more blacks. I know that sounds very simple, but more blacks. That's what you're looking at here. You're looking at this is look, line work's pretty damn clean. I see some of the tops of these rock have a gray wash line on them. Great. That's great. Bottom lines should probably have more black. The middle space should probably, you know, these little spaces between the rocks and stuff should probably like for example, dude, in real life there is no lines, right? Like you might see a line, but it doesn't really exist. It's one shade meeting another, right? So like if you can make every line disappear in a realism tattoo, that's your goal. Um, let's say one of these top rocks. You see like the top rock that has a gray wash line there?
Yep.
Um, if there's no shading behind that rock,
Right.
leave that line, leave it away, leave it gone.
Okay.
Let
Kind of
the
like the one to the left where it like goes into being like an implied line.
Yes, but even if you didn't have that line on top, but you have a drop shadow and you have shading on that rock, I will let my eyes and my brain create the line on the top for me.
Okay.
Like that's serious shit.
Right.
Like
So
it's like a
like
brain thing. Like if I look at that and you took the top line away, but I see a bunch of rocks in your tattoo, I'm immediately gonna read it as a rock. My brain will read it as a rock. It might be like, oh, where's the top of that line at? But like I already know. I already know that it was because there was too much of a light source. So he just put what was there. Just do what's there. Um, let me see the drawing. Because okay, another example that I just was saying to RJ. Is that your name, bro? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Another example. I'm gonna zoom in on that same rock, right? It's that one right there.
okay. Yep.
It does in fact have a small line on the top of gray. The issue with yours and where this one solves the problem is that you didn't brush that line in. You lined it. If you brushed that line and gave it some featherness and gave it some, I don't want to say thickness because you don't want thickness. That's very thin, that line. But if you gave it some I mean, I guess thickness is really the only word I can say. You don't want to make it thick because it's not thick, but if you just don't single line the thing, you gotta like literally come at as like brush across it. And if it looks too much like a straight line, brush underneath of it a little bit. That way it becomes not just a line. Like if you know what I'm saying, like it can be a line, but it can't be a pushed in the skin and pulled line.
100%. I see what you're saying. Like you need to just like take one of your lighter caps and brush in the line and just be
Absolutely.
so it's
Absolutely what I'm saying.
Like,
And
make
that
it
will
hazy.
solve all your problems, dude.
yeah. Kind of
If
like
you
you're
ever
shading with the liner, basically.
Exactly.
way.
100%, dude. 100%. And any line you see that's in a realism piece that looks standalone as a line, you need to brush it in. It's the only way it'll stay looking real. Like even if you pull a extra light line, it's unrealistic. So let's see, where's that other? And again, you see your shading on there? Like that rock right in the middle?
Mhm.
Underneath of that, I would call it like a 60, maybe blend it out to a 20.
Mhm.
Whereas like, you know, let's in your picture, it's like black at the bottom, very bottom. It's very thin amount of black, but it's black. And then it probably goes out to a tiny bit of 80 and then mostly 60 and 40 at the drop shadow. And you want to make sure that if that has a circle, I'm tripping. If that has like a drop shadow with a specified shape to it, in layman's terms, bro, do what you see.
Mhm.
I could sit here and try and explain it like an idiot forever, but if you see that drop shadow has a finite space to it and it doesn't just fade out into nothing,
Mhm.
do that, and it'll look more realistic.
Okay, for sure.
Again, bro, hear me out here because I know I can be repetitive and I'll say things a million times because I'm really passionate about this and I'm sorry if you guys get bored. There is not a line in sight.
Okay. Yep.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I do. Mhm.
Okay. And then you see all the individual lines of the rocks.
Mhm.
Your job is, and this is my critique in in short for this piece. Every line that you see, make it disappear. Every one of them. And then that piece that you did, even that simplistic, just a group of rocks and a start to a half sleeve, will be doubly as realistic looking. I'll do one more critique on this piece, and that is, where did you get to on this piece, bro? I'm sorry, because I don't want to critique an empty area or a spot that I would like to critique with if you're not finished. Like if you're not.
So I didn't really finish the water. Like I started doing some reflections in it.
Okay.
I was gonna simplify the water, not do as many reflections, and add a reflection of the cross in it, so it looks like the cross was meant to be there, even though it's not.
So you would take basically that tree right there as the cross,
Yep.
and then that drop shadow right here would be the cross in the water.
Yep.
Okay, I like that. I have a technique for you to do that drop shadow.
Okay.
Use a mag or maybe a 5 or a 7 liner. Can you guys like see my finger on? I can only see your
Yeah.
screen and the picture. Can you see my finger? Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah.
take your mag at a sharp direction, not
Okay.
not flat ways, a
Right.
sharp direction, or take like a 5 and 7 liner at a sharp direction. And let's say you have the post of the cross coming downward
Okay.
on the drop shadow, and then like the top X of the cross like further down.
Mhm.
All the way down that cross, you're gonna do sideways motions with the liner or the mag. You're gonna go sideways and just chop it. You're just gonna keep chopping the like. Some of this is tough for me to do, man. I can't wait to
I
like see you
understand.
guys in a seminar, but like you're always gonna want to make it a texture on a drop shadow. You're never gonna want to like kind of just reshade what you did in the foreground and use it as a drop shadow in water. Like every time you see a drop shadow in water, it always has a slight movement or a slight blur to it. The line work is going to allow the liner or the shader is going to be allow you to see for all those cuts in the water that make up for that cross. You're never going to want to like line the cross again upside down,
Mhm.
or
No,
you're
that
never
makes
going to
sense.
want to make that cross like a perfect like mag even straight down. You're going to want to turn it sideways and just cut it all the way down. All the way
Okay.
down. Whatever tone it was in this picture, like right there, dude, that's light. It's medium. on the drop shadow where the trunk is,
Uh-huh.
and then it goes straight to light at like the bottom of the like trunk, and then all these little branches and like weird shit around it are probably like a light mixed with an extra light. So when you do the cross, same thing. Your cross up here is probably going to be like blacks and darks or whatever, but your reflection's never going to be as dark as that. You know, it'll be a little bit lighter in the water. So you're going to probably start with a medium, like right where the top of that drop shadow is. And then you're just going to turn your hand sideways, dude, and start like etching sideways down until you get, you know, to a point where you want to start etching in light, and then you etch in extra light, and it'll slowly fade away. But as it's fading away, it has a texture to it, it has a movement to it.
You know, that
Um,
makes sense. I know what you're saying too, and that makes a lot of sense. You just kind of like creating like a blurred look while keeping because it's in water, so you want like a little bit of like the ripples there.
exactly. And dude, I'm telling you this, exaggerate it even if it's not there.
Okay.
If you see water like this in a thing, like in a piece, that's
Yep.
awesome. But a lot of times you see where the top of the pond is, where it turns into like more linear, like lines of
Yep.
separation.
Hmm.
I exaggerate that a lot in pieces because it looks more like water in a tattoo. I mean, you have the ability to make things look like crazy, like water in a drawing, but in a tattoo, you're very limited. You know,
Hmm.
like you have a certain amount of shit you can do to make shit look textured or blurred or whatever. You can't use all the techniques you can use in drawing. It doesn't work the same.
For
So you have
sure.
to be simple with it, but effective. And simple and effective is just turning your mag sideways or using a 7 round shader or a 5 round shader and just kind of going side by side all the way down with different tones that you see that you need. And
Hmm.
that shit'll look dope.